Lego collectors and investors should pay attention to shelf life of Lego sets. And what do I mean by shelf life? That is, how long was a Lego set available in stores before it retired and stopped getting manufactured. And this can vary a lot for different sets. And I recently made a video where I looked at some of the short shelf life sets that were retiring this year. What are the sets that weren't around very long and then they're going to disappear? They're going to stop getting manufactured. Well, today I want to do the opposite. I want to start talking about what are some sets that are retiring this year that have been around for a long time. What are the sets that have been around for 3, 4, 5 years that we are going to lose for good this year? Finally, they will be disappearing. Now, a lot of the time, if a set has been kept around for many years, it means that it's a great seller. It means that the Lego group have been happy with the performance of that set in terms of the sales that it has been driving. It means that it's been popular amongst Lego fans, because typically if a product is not doing very well, they're going to retire it early. And that's what we saw with the table football set, for example, from Lego Ideas. It is a set that they just missed the mark on, and so they're retiring it early. Now, the Lego group do plan a few years ahead of time, and they do expect certain years that they're going to retire all of their sets, but they change it a lot. So they will push out sets that are performing well, they will pull in sets and retire them early if they're not performing very well. And if a set has been around for 3, 4, 5 years, then you can pretty much guarantee that that means it has been a strong selling set. And one of the considerations we need to keep in mind, if you are buying Lego sets with the expectation of them going up in value over time, which is what I do as a Lego investor, you do need to think about supply and demand considerations if a set has been around for a very short period of time or a very long period of time. So for example, if a set has a very short shelf life, then there is a good chance that resellers and investors did not get enough time to really stock up on that set, and then the amount of those sets that will ever make it to eBay and Amazon may be smaller. But the opposite can also be true. If the set has been around for 4 or 5 years, it is always possible that there are more of them out there just waiting to make it to Amazon and eBay. So the supply in the aftermarket will likely be greater on sets that have been around for many years than sets that have been around for a very short period of time, like just a few months. But then if you think about the demand, then again, just like I said, the demand is also likely to be stronger on sets that have been around for many years, because the fact that they were around for many years proves to us that they are strong sellers. Some people may think, okay, well, all the fans who wanted this set has probably already bought it because it's been around for 5 years, so all Lego fans have already bought it. In actuality, that's not really the case, because a lot of new fans are coming online all the time and getting involved with Lego, and then they're going and buying these sets. So even sets like the New York Skyline architecture set or the London Skyline that have been around for just many years, they are still some of Lego's fastest selling sets overall, even though they've been around for many years. So the fact that it has been around for 5 or 6 years, it doesn't mean that the demand is going to be super small on that set, and there's still a good chance that demand in the aftermarket will be actually quite strong on some of the sets, even if they've been around for 5 years. But although I do think demand has a chance of continuing on some of these sets, I don't think it's going to be as strong as newer sets, right? Because typically with Lego, you do have a surge in demand on brand new sets, so the first year of a set's release will usually see stronger sales. And it is true that the total number of sales will come down a little bit every year that a set is on the shelves. So although I do think the demand will continue, I do think we still need to keep in mind that some other sets with shorter shelf lives may have stronger demand. And so those are things we should think about on each case-by-case basis when we're looking at each set. Now, for me, when it comes to shelf life in my Lego investing decisions, it is not something that makes me completely exclude a set just because it's been around for 5 years on the shelf. I will not ignore a set completely because of that, but I do prefer to see a shorter shelf life. Typically, I prefer to see it below the average shelf life or in or around the average than a super long shelf life. But at the same time, again, we need to remember that some of the best sets are kept around for quite some time. So right now, I want to show you what are some of the sets that are retiring this year in 2023 that have been around for a very long time. A lot of these are sets that have been around on the shelves longer than the theme average. So typically each theme has a different kind of shelf life or average shelf life. Brickheads, for example, is pretty short. Creator Expert and Icons is kind of longer. And so which sets are kind of beyond what we expect from the theme? And let's have a look at this. And we have a handful of sets that are retiring this year that have had a very long time on the shelves for various different reasons. And I just think it's interesting to know these things as a Lego investor. And I'm going to do the research for you so you can just sit back and relax while I walk through this. Now, first, we're going to talk about some sets that have been on the shelves for 3.5 years. Now, it's not exactly 3.5, it's kind of in and around 3.5. So some of them may have been released in May or, in August and different things, but it's close to 3.5 years by the time they retire in December 2023. Okay, so first up, we have the AT-AT and the Mandalorian and Child. These are Star Wars sets, of course. Mandalorian and Child is one that is notorious with Lego investors. Both of these have been on the shelves for a very long time, but Mandalorian and Child child specifically, it kind of really broke the norm because again, brickhead sets usually have quite a short shelf life. So this one really was abnormal to last this long, 3.5 years on the shelves. Both of these sets were released in August of 2020. So that'll be 3.5, just under 3.5 years when they retire. So it is set number 75288 and 75317. Now the AT-AT has 1,267 pieces, and the brickhead set of course has 295 pieces, just being a small 2-character brickhead set. AT-AT with a price per piece of 13 cents and the brickhead set with a 7 cents price per piece. $170 and a $20 purchase price, both released in August 2020. So again, 3.5 years on the shelves for both of these. Both are retiring this year. Finally, we say goodbye to this Brickhead's Mandalorian set. Alright, moving on now, we have Haunted House. So this is set number 10273 in the Lego Creator Expert or Icons theme. This was early in the Icons days after the rebrand, released in June 2020. So actually, this time seems to have gone quite fast because Haunted House for me still feels relatively new, even though it was released in June 2020. So that's 3.5 years ago now. This set is 3,231 pieces. It is based in the Fairground collections. So although it is an Icon set, it combines nicely with the roller coaster, the 2 roller coaster sets, and the carousel, Ferris wheel, and those sets. So Haunted House based on a Fairground ride, of course. 9 cents price per piece on this one and a $300 purchase price. Now this did get a price increase. It was $250 before the prices went up. So $300 to me is a little bit unfortunate. I feel like it's a little high, but the price per piece is still not that bad. And you get a handful of minifigs here as well. So June 2020 release date on Haunted House, 3.5 years on the shelves. Next up we have 2 Harry Potter sets. So this is Hedwig and 4 Privet Drive, both released in June 2020. So I'm sneaking 2 in here together on the same slide because they were released in around the same time. So we have Hedwig and 4 Privet Drive. So this is set number 75968 and 75979. 797 pieces inside of the Privet Drive set, 630 in Hedwig, and a 10 cents and a 6 cents price per piece. Now the Hedwig set considerably cheaper, right? And that's why we see that great price per piece there of 6 cents. This is a $40 set, and I've said this in the past, but the Hedwig set feels like really good value to me at $40. It's a great build. It looks fantastic on a shelf. $40, you get 630 parts, 6 cents price per piece. The value inside of that box is pretty strong. Now 4 Privet Drive is an $80 set, so it's a little bit higher, but you do get those minifigs and different things. There's a lot of playability and different things going on inside of that one. So 3.5 years on the shelves for both of these Harry Potter sets, retiring in June of 2020. And next up we have an architecture set. So this is the White House, retiring this year in 2023. This is set number 21054 with 1,483 pieces inside of the box. Now that's a 7 cents price per piece. It is pretty reasonable. You get a lot of parts in this one. It's a $100 set. I could see this being a higher price. I could see this selling for $120, no problem. $100 for this, what you get in here is pretty good value. June 2020 release date. Once again, it's surprising me when I'm seeing some of these because it doesn't feel like 3.5 years since the White House was released, but that is where we are. So 3.5 years on the shelves for this one, and that is abnormally long for architecture sets. It is longer than a lot of the averages in this theme. So that is the architecture White House. Next up we have 2 Lego Technic sets, and again I'm sneaking 2 into this slide here because they were released kind of close together. But we have the Ducati Panigale and the Dom's Dodge Charger, of course, from Fast and Furious, 42107 and 42111. Different piece counts here, 646 and 1077. So the Ducati is a much smaller set, of course. That is an $80 set, and the Dom's Dodge Charger is a $120 set, released in April and in June of 2020. So now we're creeping beyond that 3.5 year mark a little bit with April 2020. Long time on the shelves for these sets, of course, retiring in December of 2023. Next up we have a Monkey Kid set. So Monkey Kid's Cloud Jet. This is 80008 with 529 pieces and 11 cents price per piece, with 4 minifigures in the box and a $60 MSRP, and a May of 2020 release date. So just over 3.5 years on this one as well. So that is the Monkey Kid Cloud Jet. Okay, now we are getting up to 4 years. So now we're going to be looking at a couple of sets that have been around for 4 years or somewhere in the region of 4 years. First up, we have these 3 Brickhead sets that are Disney based characters. We have Donald Duck, we have Daisy Duck, and then we have the 2-pack with Goofy and Pluto. And I'm not surprised here, it does feel like these have been around forever. Set numbers 40377, 378, and 476, with a variety of different piece counts here, 90, 110, 214. Of course, one of the sets is larger with 2 characters included, and that is a $15 set. The other 2 are $10 sets. Now these were released in February of 2020. So by the time they retire in December of 2023, that's almost 4 years, just under 4 years on the shelves. So time to say goodbye to your Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Pluto, and Goofy Brickhead sets, and make sure to grab these if you are a collector. Alright, so moving on now. Next up we have another number 5 here. We accidentally had 2 number 5s, I hope you don't mind. But this is Creator Expert Bookshop, and this is Lego Icons, or Creator Expert 10270, a modular building, of course. 2,504 pieces, 8 cents price per piece, and a $200 MSRP. Now, once again, this just really surprises me that this set has been around for so long. January 2020, 4 years on the shelves by the time Bookshop disappears for good. So Creator Expert sets typically do have quite a long time on the shelves, especially modular buildings. We do see 3 or 4 year shelf lives. We even see longer, and we've seen longer in the past. So 4 years here is not massively abnormal for Bookshop. Released in January 2020, retiring in December of 2023. This is a beloved set. There's a lot of fans of this one out there. Now, next up in number 4, we have Ice Cream Truck. So this is a Lego City set, the first on the list here. 60253 with 200 parts and a 10 cents price per piece on this one. And this is just a $20 set, released in January of 2020 and retiring in December of 2023 for a shelf life of 4 years. Now, next up, what are some sets that have been around for 4.5 years that are retiring in 2023? So we're about to lose the Frozen Ice Castle and Elsa's Jewelry Box. So once again, we have 2 sets here released in similar time frames. These were released in 2019, right? So we're going back a little bit here. Set number 10899 and 41168 with 59 pieces in the Duplo set and 300 pieces in the Disney branded set. That price per piece on the Duplo set, of course, being 93 cents. Quite high because it is a Duplo set, and that's what we typically see. Price per piece on the Jewelry Box Creation set of 13 cents. $54 purchase price on the Duplo and $40 on the Jewelry Box, and both released in 2019, so around August to October 2019. So the Jewelry Box is not quite 4.5 years, more like 4 years and a quarter, but still quite a long time on the shelves here for this one, both retiring in December of 2023. And now in number 2 here, we have another double whammy of 2 sets released in similar time periods. We have the Ford Mustang and the NASA Apollo 11 lunar lander. So both of these again released during 2019. Both Lego Creator Expert sets, 10265 and 10266 are the set numbers. 1,471 pieces in the Ford Mustang and 1,087 pieces in the lunar lander. Pretty reasonable price per piece on both. $170 is the Mustang MSRP and $100 for the lunar lander. So these were released in March and June of 2019. 4.5 years on the shelves for the lunar lander, and even longer for the Mustang. That's 4 years and 3/4 by the time they retire this year. Alright, so that is quite a long time on the shelves for these sets, but in number 1 here, this one takes a massive leap forward. This one has been around for 7 years. So this next set, 7 years on the shelves. We are about to say goodbye to Assembly Square. So this is Lego Creator Expert Assembly Square, part of the modular series of buildings, has been kept around way beyond what people thought. For the last couple of years, a lot of rumors about this set retiring every single year, and it has stuck it out and stuck with us until now. In 2023, the set is retiring. It has been confirmed. It is marked as last chance to buy on Lego official websites. This one is leaving us. It is set number 10255 with 4,002 pieces. This is one of the flagship sets in the modular series of buildings. It is more expensive than a lot of the other modulars, has more pieces, and simply the topic of this is the squares, like the town square, and so it is obviously going to be important for city builders. 7 cents price per piece, pretty reasonable. It's a $300 purchase price, and this one was released in January of 2017. 7 years on the shelves by the time this one retires at the end of December 2023. Now, I expect that it could sell out before we even get to the end of December, and this one was the 10th anniversary. So will that mean that this set becomes iconic and sought after over time by modular collectors? It remains to be seen. I'll be interested to see what happens to this one after it has retired and the value starts to go up. So what do you think about these sets? Do you care that they've been on the shelves for this long? When a set has been around for 7 years, do you want to buy it as an investor or a collector, or do you avoid those sets? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's get that discussion going. And while you're down there, make sure to grab the link to our free Facebook group. We have a group where we talk about Lego investing. We're coming into the busiest and most important season for Lego investors right now. You're not going to want to miss the discussions inside of that group. So make sure to join us and grab that link down below. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and I will see you in the next one.